Now, according to that, what about America now? What about America? And does America carry a bigger burden because Allah gave it the opportunity to manage the world? What did it do with it? The worst mismanagement. Well, the British didn't do too good. In fact, none of them did too good. But that's what the Quran said, and we give everybody a chance, right? They got a chance. The Babylonians had a shot. And they did all right. They didn't do too bad. The Persians had a shot. But all of them had a shot, and they did what they did, right? The worst one in history is Boss Man. He done destroyed more people and messed up the earth and refused to listen. The other people didn't have the ability in their time. Although the Quran and Hadith might have looked at it in a certain way, and certain Hadith, even in the Quran, I think as it talks about the sun will rise in the west. Definitely Hadith. Okay. What's going to cause the sun to rise? That means this whole thing got to be turned upside down. Well, hell, it's been turned upside down now. What more upside down do we need than now? The whole ocean, can you imagine, is turned into a gigantic sewer. And ain't no slowing down. Can you imagine the sign on the highway? Dangerous curves, decline, not 20%, decline 75%. That means it's almost going straight down, right? And they keep on, they don't slow down, they mash on the gas. Isn't that what they're doing now? The earth is in a decline, and this, that, and the atmosphere, and the people gotta be crazy. This looking and listening. They have fires in California that's blowing, the smut is going over here 3,000 miles, and nobody said, man, this smut 3,000 miles away. The niggas ain't saying nothing. That's the people, when the Quran say your leader, who told you to do that? We're just following them. They said, well, go on over there with them then. We don't want to go over there with them. What it is from the human perspective, we have human guidance from Allah for us. And why not give it a shot? Why not try to pull it off? Hey, you can't lose nothing. In fact, it's a big win. And that's mainly what we wanted to talk about today. This spirit that we're living in is got to be clear to anyone alive, and to us even more, because we're studying the scriptural rendition, and it's running the script. It's like, well, not a Hollywood script, but it's a script that enough people have read and understand. And then here it comes. Except it's in modern language. So what do we want? Okay. Crash course in movement development. That's what we're getting, a crash course in movement development. And it's a continuous crash course, because what was efficient, good, and necessary 2 or 3 years ago is outdated now. And what was happening, we could see it clearly in certain times. Like, remember we told the people for years that something's gonna happen in the Middle East, and it's associated, nobody from Iran and Iraq said anything about it, but we were saying Allah put them folks together. It's 22 million 25 million. And some are even saying 30 million. It's gaining. It started with 4 million people. As soon as Saddam lost power, and it grew every year. And then Soleimani got martyred last year before. Yeah, on the 3rd of January. Yeah, 18 months ago, something like that. So we just said we're going to stay here because this is just what we've been talking about. So for us, that was a sign. Because I came here to rumble, and I had a court date on January 6, 2000. I was going back to California. I just came here to do something. But I haven't left yet. And I'm going to go back to California. But things have exploded so much that the importance of things. Boss man think that we have your Masjid and you can't come in there. So what? That is not, Franklin Roosevelt used to do it. It was called delay, something like the Hadith. He could delay an appointment for something until it wasn't important anymore. We didn't delay going back to California so long. Hell, that's not important. It's not important. They didn't take in our property. That was in 2016. They took it and it's clear. We can challenge that in court whenever we get ready. Well, you lose this. So whatever we lose, Allah will give it back to us quadruple, more than we can use. And the other thing is, like, right now, we don't know how other people are relating to this, but we're not traumatized, we're not overexcited, we are tripping. Like healthy tripping though, like, I'll be damned, this is actually, I know, we can go all the lectures, well, we said this, we said, yeah, but that's actually happening. Well, you ought to know, you said it was going to, yeah, that's saying one thing, saying rich is great, but being rich is different, right? And you sit there watching it, you say, let me double check, and you double check all the stuff with it. That's one of the reasons the other day we was dealing with things from years ago, 30 years ago, about Deen al-Malik, right, and the Deen of Allah. And then all that stuff to go with it. Most of this stuff we've been through for decades. But now, the opportunity is here for us to do our part. But also the parts about Allah being Al-Hasib. That means He's the accountant, right? Okay, now, just because we want certain things to happen, just because we believe certain things can happen, this is where big trust in Allah comes from. That Allah will instruct you on what you need to do at what time, because Allah is allowing all this stuff to happen. And that's why plans and things, you may think you're good at strategic management and planning, but when Rida is to be happy about what happened, but there's another thing to go with that, that's tafweed. Is actually turning everything over to Allah. And it seems like a big thing, but at a certain level, the things are so big and so complex that it can get beyond human, you know, even studied humans. So that's what you trust in Allah for. And that's what we're doing. So everything that we're doing now is during this time of dispensation. So where we go and what we do has nothing to do with what Negroes do around here. Nothing, nothing, nothing. It ain't nobody can do anything to alter, you know, because boss man think, you might wonder, well, why is boss man spending all that time and all that money on Masjid al-Islam and Imam Musa, you know? I mean, you can tell all of it is you try to start the car, it won't start. Here comes somebody, fix it, and it don't fix. It's fixed in 3 days, right? Or because they might have changed their mind on something. Or when you bought it, you might have said, as soon as I get this, I'm headed to California, something come up, right? And you don't use it for that. So boss man is dumb thinking, he says, they ain't using that. They got this out there, I'll mess that up too. And he's not messing anything up. He's the one that's messed up. Look at him. Here we are. Look at our position. We are inside of America with the whole world falling apart. And the meanest guy in the world at this time that's carrying the flag of meanness is boss man. And we're having a Sunday meeting here and we're kicking back. And this afternoon, if I feel like it, I'll go run. If I don't, I'll wait till tomorrow. So what? Right? Other people are being burned and massacred and right? And they're taking it in the same stride that we're taking what we got here. You know, the people that's been martyred in Afghanistan, they're taking their martyrdom like we're taking this here. Other people look, they say, man, that's bad. They did this to you, they did that, they ain't did nothing. Right? They technically haven't done anything. Okay. Plus, anything they do is to help you get to a spot that they don't even know the spot exists. Allah knows the spot exists. This is where Iman and faith comes in. This is where faith comes in. That you know that every drone that hits some family and they're killed, their death was for a certain reason. And if they lived, their life was for a certain reason, right? And the same thing about us. You know, how do you adjust to everything around you? And I'll move toward a close with this, see, because everything that's close to people, they misinterpret it. Like in '86, when they took my accordion folders, you know, and stuff like that. I have the flag says it's a big victory. That's what I wrote then. It's a big victory. Because that was the period when we're easing into, as '86, we're easing into this type of mentality now. And my dua was, my sons was with me, boy, and they was picking up on stuff, and I said, and so I just asked Allah to keep them alive long enough so they understand what's going on. Because at that time, they don't know us. I remember that same period, my son looked at me, he said, Dad, this thing you're doing is kind of lonely, isn't it? I said, absolutely not. Because I had been conditioned already, going to the hole all the time in the white man's jail, isolation, they call it, segregation. Every one of them, I used to spend all of my time there, mostly, right? So you get prepared. And when you get all of what you was thinking that was big and you get all that money, you find that boss man can isolate you and cut you off right there and you right at home. And there's thousands of people around, right? But he done systematically cut you off and isolated you. He may have helicopters 25 feet over your house and shaking the house and scaring everybody in it, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And even if it's in the early years, it's not that comfortable. Your eyes be getting big, you know. No, I mean, the first stages of this stuff is big. Because you haven't gotten used to boss man, and everybody that you see boss man with, he said, this is a big nigga, and he dragged him down right in the back of his chariot in front of you. That's your hero there, right? So I said, I ain't gonna let no cracker do that to me. Now, I should have asked Allah, because that's what happened. Allah didn't let it happen. But all those changes and all of those things was to get here. Now, the foresight, the ability to see out in front, the insight to be able to see internally how all of those things affect, that's been happening to you, affect your life and your future. And to get a chance to move all around the world and watch all the movements and watch everything and really to study it is a great gift. That's especially at that time, because there's a lot of things happening that people don't understand, okay? And to give an opportunity like we have now is to have a picture of reality and want to institute it with no meanness, no hatred, no get-backism, none of that. But boss man